Hello, everyone. During this latest debate between William Lane Craig, or Dr. William Lane Craig, and Mohammed Hijab, there was a period of time where Mohammed Hijab was thoroughly blabbering. Now, of course, throughout the debate, which was about an hour long, Mohammed Hijab was completely logically incoherent. I'm not talking about that problem here. I'm purely talking about a phase where, on top of being logically incoherent, he simply could not even string together English statements properly that showed that he was engaging in a simple English conversation. He came across as thoroughly confused. And that is the part I really wanted to unpack before you today in this response video, and hopefully I'll be producing other response videos dealing with other aspects of the debate. So let me try and unpack. What I want to first do before you is really show you where this happened. At some stage in the debate, William Lane Craig brought up this example of two matchsticks and one candle. Note carefully, please don't focus on the logical coherence here or incoherence, but rather purely focus on the English communication. What was Dr. William Lane Craig bringing up? Two matchsticks, one candle.
Imagine a candle being lit by two simultaneous matches, each of which is sufficient to illuminate the candle.
When Mohammed Hijab had to respond to this point, he suddenly was speaking about, he did not refer to two matchsticks and one candle at all. And now suddenly he speaks about two candles. Where did the second candle come from? What was he on about? Please see this for yourself.
It's this analogous to what we are talking about. Why? If you have two candles that come together to light a flame, you will have a bigger flame, you see. There's sufficient condition. There's sufficient. You've written this in your book on logic. You have a fantastic book, and I recommend it to the people for children on logic. The difference between necessary and sufficient conditions. What is required for the lighting of a candle, what is a necessary condition for the lighting of a candle, is not achieved with the lighting of two candles.
In the same response, it got worse. Guess what? Suddenly, he mentioned, I think towards the end in that response, he said something about a flame and two lights. What flame was he talking about? And what two lights was he talking about?
So I'm saying it's disanalogous because we're talking about the flame, and the flame here is a product of the two lights that you've talked about, which is a bigger flame.
What was William Lane Craig's example of two matchsticks and one candle has been completely lost in a matter of 2 minutes. What really happened here? Why was Mohammed Hijab blabbering? Guess what? It did not even stop here. William Lane Craig, by the way, when he responded to this, he actually was very kind, and he sort of brushed off, what he might have heard as English language incoherent response. He brushed that off. He assumed, he gave the benefit of the doubt from what I can see. But when Mohammed Hijab had his next round of response, he said a couple of more remarkable things. And I'll show this to you in a moment. What was he talking about? He now suddenly speaks about two matches to form a bigger flame. The candle was completely gone from his example. So at least this you might want to excuse. But then he went on to talk about two matches or two matchsticks which are different to the flame. What flame does he have in his mind? Where did the candle go? Is he talking about the flame in the candle, or is he talking about the flame that is formed when you were combining two matchsticks? What was going on here? See this for yourself.
I don't agree with anything you just said there. I mean, you talked about the flame, the two matches coming to create a bigger flame. But that is clearly a different product. The two matches are different to the flame.
Yeah. So note carefully, in none of Mohammed Hijab's response did he refer to two matchsticks and one candle explicitly. It wasn't even in his response. But that is the precise point William Lane Craig was trying to make. Guess what? Muhammad Hijab was happy about what he has said, and he even said William Lane Craig's examples are almost useless in comparison to what Muhammad Hijab wanted to say.
There is not a single analogy that you can bring which match the analogies that I've brought forward, which show the fundamental point.
Now, let me try and unpack this entire situation as to why hijab could not even engage in a simple English conversation, whether in a coherent or an incoherent manner. And I think I have found out why this could have happened. I don't think Muhammad Hijab is that dumb. But let me explain to you why this could have happened. So, note carefully, there are a few important points that you can actually see in this debate. Number one, when Muhammad Hijab actually naturally wanted to see William Lane Craig, he naturally tended towards the camera. You can see that here.
Yeah,
can you hear us? Oh, okay.
Just tell me where
yeah,
to
I was
yeah.
Well, feel free to go ahead.
Right now? Okay. Yeah, so Dr. William Lane Craig has not admitted openly to the audience that his view of the denial of the eternal begotten Son, which is the second person of the Trinity, is a view that was not held by all of Christianity for... Sorry? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry.
And that particularly means to me that clearly he has some sort of a teleprompter or a screen behind the camera or some such thing where clearly William Lane Craig was visible to him as he is looking at the camera. So if he wants to see William Lane Craig, he was looking at the camera naturally. But carefully note, when he was blabbering, he wasn't looking at the camera. He was looking at the left top somewhere, almost as if the Islamic Allah was speaking to him, was revealing something to him. So he was focused up there. What was up there is the crucial question that needs to be asked. Well, I can give you some insight into what could have been up there based on some details I observed. Number one, if you watch his spectacles on his glasses, you could see that there were at least two light sources. One at the left top and one at the right top. At least them you could see. But clearly, the light, whatever he was looking at, left top, could not have been a light source which was merely trying to illuminate his face. Because I know by experience, and I'm sure anyone else who's used to recording would know, even if you had two light sources trying to illuminate your face, like the ones I have here, you would not want to see them. You would want to try and avoid them as best as you can. For example, if I try to turn towards that, my eyes don't let me do that. I turn away. And therefore, clearly, what Muhammad Hijab was looking at was not a light source trying to illuminate his face. What else was it? Well, I have a guess, an informed guess. I think what he was looking at was actually an electronic screen where some information was being displayed. So before I move on, I let you watch the fact that he actually focuses on the left top as he responds. And it would almost seem as if clearly he was reading out from a script.
The flame, the two matches coming to create a bigger flame. But that is clearly a different product. The two matches are different to the flame. Yeah. There is not a single analogy that you can bring.
But here is a problem. There is one detail which makes me believe that Muhammad Hijab could not have scripted pre-debate the points that he was making about the flame and the light and the candles and whatever else he had in his mind. Clearly, it could not have been scripted pre-debate. And the reason I say that was because as he tried to respond to William Lane Craig's point about the two matchsticks and one candle, the scripted response came out immediately. He was talking about a mother or two mothers giving birth to a child or some such thing. And I think there was maybe even one more example there. But those were the ones he was prepared for. And then he moved on to using William Lane Craig's own example. But before we get there, I'll show you his scripted response about the mothers and the child.
You said causal overdetermination. I'm sorry to say you have not answered the question. The question is, can you have two subjects that are fully responsible, to a degree of 100%, fully responsible for the creation of one thing in its entirety? For example, can you have two mothers that are fully responsible for the production of one child? Fully responsible.
So clearly when he got to the part where he wanted to use William Lane Craig's example, he began to struggle, indicating that wasn't pre-debate scripted. If it wasn't pre-debate scripted, yet it was up on the screen for him as a script, who scripted it? Clearly he wasn't going to type during the debate. You couldn't see him type during the debate for him to see. Clearly that wasn't what was happening. And so what could have happened, very likely, was that someone, should I say, who is more clueless than Muhammad Hijab, was giving him the response and feeding that response to him on the screen. This is the case of the dumb and the dumber. The other gentleman who was feeding the information to him on the screen clearly wasn't even as capable as Muhammad Hijab, although he himself isn't capable at all. So he was feeding that, and Muhammad Hijab, for whatever reason, wanted to trust this other person, even though he should have known that perhaps among all Muslim apologists, he had the best shot anyway, even though he himself would miserably fail. For whatever reason, depended on this other guy's response, and therefore came across as an utter fool. So my dear friends, note carefully, when William Lane Craig was debating wasn't Muhammad Hijab alone. It wasn't a one-to-one debate. It was really William Lane Craig versus Muhammad Hijab plus a whole host. I don't know how many other people were in the team with him. Yet they miserably lost the actual philosophical arguments, which are the ones related to the topic anyway. And I'll demonstrate that through other videos. For now, please just be aware that we are dealing with a criminal gang, not a good intentioned, sincere set of people, but rather what could very legitimately be a criminal gang. Thank you very much for watching this, and I'll see you in other videos, hopefully that I'll make later today, responding to other parts of this debate. And before I go, let me say this. It's time to leave Islam, and it's time to come to the precious Lord Jesus Christ. If you don't do that, you will become a laughing stock like what Muhammad Hijab has become. Not just with the debate gone, but with various engagements that he has had in the past, and he will continue having unless he leaves behind this, fallacious, brainwashing religious system called Islam. Thank you very much.